Tesla stock has been green 11 days in a row. Will this streak continue this week? Well, there's some things we need to talk about. We're potentially looking at a massive short squeeze right around the corner. At the same time, the Fed could be getting ready to rug pull us. There's a huge divergence of possibilities. We'll talk about the most likely outcome here in this video. Now, this comes after Tesla has been giving us back-to-back good news. There really hasn't been bad news for Tesla in a long time. These catalysts coming together the way that they have is putting a lot of pressure on the shorts. So I really want to take it to the charts. Where could Tesla stock go? Now, Tesla is also rumored to be planning a more than $4.5 billion factory to be built in Spain. And I want to give you guys the details on what we know about this situation and much more here in this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. If and only if, and I mean this, if you want to stay up to date with what's happening in our markets, if you want to make money, if you like to make money, if you want to grow your portfolio, or reach financial freedom as fast as possible. If those are things you're not interested in, do not hit the like button, don't watch this video, and don't subscribe to the channel. So you guys most likely know the reasons why Tesla stock has rallied 11 days in a row. Twitter now has a new CEO. Elon's more focused on Tesla than he has been in, I would argue, years. You have seen price increases to Tesla models, which signals positive demand. You've seen all of Tesla's models now able to qualify for a $7,500 tax credit. Investors are getting more bullish on the Cybertruck coming by the end of this year. And maybe equally as important as the tax credits, Tesla has solidified its dominance in the charging sector. Ford and GM have capitulated. They're no longer pursuing charging as a segment of their business. They're going to leave that all to Tesla. That's good promotion for Tesla. If you're charging your Ford or GM at a Tesla supercharger, why not just buy a Tesla, right? On top of that, that's very much service-like revenue that will last forever, essentially, until there's someone else that takes the place from Tesla, which looks unlikely anytime soon. So for those reasons, Tesla stock has been going higher, and justifiably so. Now, Tesla is also rumored to potentially build a factory worth over $1.5 billion in Spain. Now, on top of any logistical benefits this would have by building a factory in Spain, it's just a clear and obvious sign that Tesla has confidence in its business long term, and that even if we do go through a shallow recession or there's hardship in the economy, Tesla's comfortable enough to be making large investments in a slowing economy. This is a bullish thing. Now, what we've seen recently is deliveries in China, 77,000 for the month of May, probably going to lead to a higher than expected Q2 delivery number. My personal opinion could be over 350,000 vehicles. The previous record that we have ever seen was 254,000 vehicles. Current average analyst estimates are like 300,000 vehicles. So you have a chance to beat that by quite a bit. Markets probably front running that a little bit and pricing that into the stock. Now, here in the short term, here throughout this week, couple things you guys should know. We went into the biggest catalyst of this upcoming week in the last video. Go watch that video if you have not done so already. It's going to be a crazy week this week. Probably the craziest week you're going to have in a long time. You're going to get CPI. You're going to get the Fed. You get PPI, retail sales, Michigan consumer sentiment, inflation expectations, massive bond auctions, a quad witching. Like, literally the catalysts go on. And these are big data points. They're not small data points. They're huge, okay? So I think there is potentially some benefits to be had with certain sectors this week. And I think the EV sector specifically, the automobile sector could be a big beneficiary. Now, the biggest thing that's going to benefit stocks such as Tesla, or really interest rate sensitive companies, that's what it comes down to, interest rate sensitive, it's going to be the CPI report and the Fed. Now, markets are currently expecting the Fed to pause on Wednesday. Now, it all comes down to the CPI report on Tuesday. If CPI is hotter than expectations, you are going to get a rate hike. That will be bad for Tesla. That is bad for automobile affordability. That, in theory, will lead to less sales for Tesla. That would be a negative drag to the stock. That's a fact that we can definitively say. So I would expect Tesla to underperform if inflation comes in higher than expectations. But if inflation comes in line with the current market expectation, Tesla stock could absolutely rip higher from here. The headline inflation rate month over month is expected to come in at 0.3%, down from 0.4% last month. Core inflation rate year over year expected to come in at 5.4%, down from last month's reading of 5.5%. Inflation rate year over year, the headline number, this was the number the markets reacted to the last inflation report. The last inflation report month over month went higher and did not show signs of decelerating, but the year over year number was dropping so quickly, markets didn't care that last month, on the month over month basis, inflation actually accelerated. They didn't even care. So I don't know which data point the markets are going to care about this time around. I just know they'll all be important. Now, inflation rate year over year, headline expected to come in at 4.3%. Last month's reading was 4.9%. Core inflation rate month over month, expecting that to come in at 0.3%. Last month, it was 0.4%. That's the one that is really sticky right now. That core inflation rate month over month just doesn't want to come down. And that one could be a problem. But long story short, if inflation does come down the way that markets are pricing and expecting that it will, well, that's going to be a big benefit to Tesla. If this whole narrative can actually remain, that means you're closer to a cut. That means you're closer to better affordability for Teslas, which will mean higher sales and overall stronger business. Now, markets tend to price these things in ahead of time, and that's why I'm talking to you about them now. If you see these positive things happen this week, it will lead to a positive reaction in Tesla stock. Now, short sellers cannot afford for that to happen. Short sellers are down massively in the last 3 months as Tesla stock has been on a nonstop rally. Now, there's a couple things that are very interesting with Tesla that are different compared to other stocks that are also in the Magnificent Seven, such as Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, so on and so forth. The number one thing that sticks out to me that I like to say quite often is that this fall that you've seen from that 315 level down to 101, I don't think should have even happened in the first place. You bottomed out at about $205 in June of 2022. I think that's the lowest that Tesla really should have fallen to, right? If we had a crystal ball and we could see that Tesla didn't have a demand problem, there was nothing going on that was worth or that would justify a 50% crash from June 2022 levels. I think that would be easy to see looking back now. But the funny thing is, you're only back to these same levels that you were at in May, June, July of 2022. So unlike an Apple or a Microsoft or a Nvidia that are at their all-time highs or recently surpassed their all-time highs, in which all three of those names have hit new all-time highs in 2023, Tesla's not even close. And you still have to see a roughly 68% rally from here to get back to those all-time highs. Now, do I think that will happen? Well, it's possible. It certainly is. When you look at the amount of shorts that are short in Tesla and the positive news that we have seen lately, it's only going to take a couple more catalysts to get back to all-time highs. because, again, Tesla should have never been at $100 to begin with. So analysts are going to come out and say Tesla's rallied too aggressively, that you should sell the stock, that it's going to fall from here, which might be the case. But again, should it have ever been at $100 per share? If Tesla stock only fell to that 205 level, this would be a much different conversation that analysts are having. Analysts would be saying, hey, Tesla could rally much higher from here, right? Because from 205 to 245, where Tesla is right now, is only a rally of 17.5%. Apple has done 35% of a rally in 2023 alone. That would put Tesla in that neighborhood of 280 to 290. So I think there is upside from here. Now, if you take a look at these shorts, I mean, they're getting completely washed out. And really one, catalyst from here, which could be the CPI report on Tuesday, could send shorts running for the door. The dollar amount currently sold short in Tesla stock is $23.51 billion. This is up 61% in the last 3 months. And while Tesla is really a long-term buy and hold kind of trade, or investment, I should say, there can be some really nice short-term trades. Trades that you can buy $10 into 100 or into 200 if you can acknowledge some of these trends before they happen, in which we have done here on this channel. Another reason to subscribe to the channel, to stay up to date with all of these videos. Not to mention just the short interest, but also the option activity. The option activity has been very bullish in Tesla as of recently. And like we talked about in the last video, you have a quad witching this week. Now, if you guys don't remember what a quad witching is, if you didn't watch the last video, well, it's when stock index futures expire, stock index options, stock options, and single stock futures all expire on the same day. The most important time frame is the last hour of the day. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., you always see the volume spike 2 to 3 times the average S&P hourly trading volume. That's because people start to get exercised on options and they start to have to buy the stock, right, essentially, or short the stock, just depending on which way that stock has moved recently. Now, Tesla has rallied recently, so odds are you get a lot more bullish positioning in Tesla. People start to exercise a lot of their calls, so on and so forth, and it can lead to a lot more buying pressure in a name such as Tesla, or for stocks that have adversely fallen recently, could lead to more shorting pressure, especially in the last hour of trading on Friday. So keep all of this in mind. If you're bullish come Tuesday, it's probably going to be another very strong week for Tesla. And as far as how high Tesla could go, again, remember, I don't think Tesla should have been $101 at all. I think that was way overblown. And I think if you look at Tesla's rally from a more respectable price, which I would say was mid-2022 pricing, around $200 per share, well, I mean, the stock really hasn't rallied all that much. So what you've seen recently is Tesla stock has broke above its long-term downtrend, its long-term resistance level. This is the resistance level ever since Tesla hit its all-time high. Typically, when you reverse these trends and you break out above a long-term downtrend or technical indicator of any kind, you tend to get a very strong follow-through. It wouldn't surprise me if on Monday you're somewhat flat with Tesla. On Tuesday, you get a big directional move up or down. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me to trade sideways with Tesla for a couple weeks. That's mainly because technical indicators such as the RSI are massively overbought. That doesn't mean Tesla has to fall like a rock. It doesn't mean certainly it's time to short the stock. If you are one of the guys that has shorted Tesla recently, well, you're down a lot of money. Tesla short sellers are down over $6 billion in just the last 11 days. Not to mention the losses that some of these shorts are seeing that got into short positions in the 110s, 120s up to the 170s. You're starting to incur some pretty big losses, and we know a lot of shorts were short. All in all, those losses equate to over $10 billion right now. I think when you look at some of these catalysts, bullish potential catalysts, as long as this week is not super negative and the Fed doesn't have to give us another rate hike, I don't really see anything negative that's going to substantially drop Tesla. And that's what it comes down to. Look at something like NVIDIA. NVIDIA raised guidance. They've only had good news since their last earnings. Sure, it's come down a little bit, but it's mainly traded sideways at the higher end range. If you don't see a negative catalyst for Tesla, it's probably not going to fall that much. But that would actually be healthy to get us to 300 or 350 if you can get technical indicators such as the RSI to come down to more of a neutral level, or at least not be extremely overbought. That's going to be a positive thing no matter which way you look at it. So I'm bullish for this week. I'm bullish for the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months. Again, like I said in one of the last videos, the next 6 to 12 months, a little bit more uncertain. We don't know ultimately what's going to happen with inflation and how that could affect Tesla's demand. We don't know how student loan repayments are going to play out coming by the end of summer, what kind of demand that or effect that's going to have on affordability for Teslas. That could have a material impact. We don't know some things in the 6 to 12 month range, but in the short term, things are very bullish. Now, a year from now, I'm confident Tesla's going to be higher than where it is now. Probably going to be close to all-time highs if things play out according to plan, in which I don't expect any of those potential negative catalysts to be a big deal. Always a chance there is, so it's important to point those out. But from my perspective here, I am buying every last share of Tesla that I can possibly buy. It's a winner. Short-term, long-term, it's a real winner. So that is going to do it here in this video. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Again, if you want to stay up to date with this information on a day-by-day basis, if you like money and you want to make more of it, if you want to reach financial freedom as quickly as possible, this is the place to be. That is it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.